All right, welcome back to part 2, where I make an attempt to do a little bit of embellishing and, adding to this just to see if we can make it look a little bit more interesting. What I am going to be doing is just adding some centers, very simple centers in these flowers, 2 or 3 dots in the center, and then I think I'm going to take some of the Pinata brass and do some dots. I had thought about using it to try to paint some, little swirly lines here and there in between. However, you can't, it's what I want to do is almost impossible to do with Pinata brass. And that's what's in here, by the way. There's no alcohol in it. I just poured a little bit in this extra bottle that I had broken the lid on, because I want to use a paintbrush rather than dripping it out, because I'll get too much. But anyway, with the Pinata brass, if I take a paintbrush and try to, so I'm just going to use this little fine liner brush, and I try to paint anything, a line on this white like this especially, it's going to look fantastic when the light's hitting it the right way for it to shimmer and shine a little. But when the light's not hitting it just right, it just kind of looks like, to me, it looks very grainy and brownish looking. It just doesn't look great to me to use it to paint with a paintbrush by itself, unless you're going to be in a very small area where all of that, whatever they use to make it, the brass, the metallic in it, to where it can all kind of come to the surface. It just is, I don't know, it's just my taste. I'm sure somebody probably knows exactly how to use it and make it look good, but I'm not that person. Shoot, this is something I should have practiced probably, because this is something I've never done. What I'm going to try right now is something I haven't done before. I want to put down some spots of brass here, and then some spots of color on top of the brass to kind of push the brass out. And I'm just wondering if I'm going to be able to do that if the brass dries up before I get ready to put my color spots on there. My paintbrush is stiff. I am the world's worst to either not clean my brushes. I usually try and clean them a little, but I'm usually in a hurry and I don't clean them good, and they kind of end up with some leftover ink in them. So, alright. There was just a little alcohol there that I was using to clean my brush. Okay, well, I don't want to, let's just see how this goes. Let's just try it. I don't want to mess up my painting, so I don't know if I want to do it on the painting or not, but we'll just take a stab at it and see how it goes. I'm going to pour a little of this out. This is just a lid to a little condiment cup. I'm just going to pour a little bit, or a lot, inside it there, so I've got a little puddle without having to stick my brush all the way down in that bottle. Alright, so let's see how this goes. And I just wanted to make a few little spots near the center. Doesn't have to be dead center, it's just, this is abstract, so, kind of do what you feel the need to do. But, give your brass a little stir so that all your metallic part doesn't just settle to the bottom in there. And I decided to do 3 spots on each one, because I think what I'm going to do is come back over with whatever colors the flower is not to do my centers with. I thought about just doing one color in each flower, but I just decided to make it a little more colorful that way. And you can do it whatever your taste. It actually, you know, would look really good just to leave the brass and not put anything over it. But I just wanted to try that way today. Oh, yes. Okay, I just splattered brass everywhere. That's what I get for using this thing, because it's got these little ridges in the bottom of it. And so the paintbrush sort of scraped against them and splattered it up. See, I've got a couple landed on my paper even. Oops. But I can get those off easily with just a little cotton swab. Just FYI, for those of you who are not in the U.S., I am trying to get set up some other country Amazon affiliate accounts. I have got the UK finished. The link to my storefront is in the description box below the video. However, I have not had time to go through Amazon and add very much to it yet, because there are things that are not available in the UK that we can get here in the US. So some of the stuff I have to try to find a substitute for. But most of it is available. However, there is a hairdryer. The hairdryer that I use is not available in the UK. I put on my community tab, for those of you who saw the post, the link to the hairdryer in the UK that is going to work the best for you all, which was actually sent to me by one of my fantastic UK viewers. She's been using this one and really likes it. It's a Tresemme brand. So that's what I put the link to. It has a cool setting on it. And I'm sorry, y'all, I'm a little disorganized today. We just got, well, I got wrapped up with my part of school for the girls today, and they're finishing up their work. And I was kind of in a hurry to get started, so I didn't have stuff that I needed out here out. So, let me see. I'm going to try and I'm just going to flip that over. I'm just going to use the other side of this. I like to use the little medicine bottle or little medicine measuring cups for putting ink in, because they're small. I don't usually want a ton of ink out at one time anyway. Sorry, I'm going to get this. Try to get that off real quick. But little things like this also work great too. I am just a huge pack rat, I guess, and recycler. I can find a use for almost everything. So, all right. So this one I'm going to start with. This one was done in pink sherbet, so I'm going to do inside these 3 dots with the Cool Perry, the salmon, and the aqua, which I know I'm going to be wishing I had something else to put this stuff on, because I'm pretty sure it's all going to run. Yep. I don't even know how often I have started to get a palette, like a little watercolor palette, and have not done it. I keep putting them in my Amazon cart and taking them back out. That's not spreading the way that I had hoped it would. just kind of looks like an eyeball. There's an eyeball staring back at me now. I should have set out a little pot of alcohol too to keep my brush washed off so my colors didn't blend. Because I'm going to be wasting a lot of it this way, I'm sure. Yeah, okay, so I'm not sure if I just used too much brass. I'm just gonna have to kind of move it around a little bit. I think what I should have done is done one drop of brass, and then while that brass was still wet, done my drop of a color so that it would push it out. Because it's just being swallowed up by the brass right now. It's kind of, the ink is actually kind of sinking into the brass, which is not something that you see all that often. It's usually the other way around. So, yeah, so ends this experiment. I am not going to keep going with this like that, because all I'm going to end up doing is really messing up the stuff, I think, because I don't like the way that looks in there. I don't know that I can get it to focus in there so that you all can kind of see what it's doing, but I don't like that. So I'm going to reactivate my little bit of brass here. See if I can just cover that up some where I put the colored ink in there. Who knows what I'll end up doing. But, you know, if you don't experiment and practice and play around a little, you'll never know what you can do with it if you don't mess around and try. So anything you wonder about, you know, hey, can I paint on this, or give it a shot, because you'll never know till you try. I do recommend that anything you want to try and paint on, it needs to be non-porous, waterproof, and smooth. You don't, if you're gonna try and let your inks flow, you know, around, you don't want you know, a surface that's rigid, that's ridged like this, because you will end up with your ink flowing down the cracks in it or whatever. Alright, I am going to just use this straight out of the bottle now, because otherwise it's going to keep drying up on me. I'm hoping this stays brass. I had some silver I was trying to add stuff to it, see if I could make just regular, the Ranger silver. Oh, good grief, look at that. I was trying to see if I could make it work, but I couldn't. And I dumped it back out of that bottle and then just left the lid off the bottle. And it dried in there to where even cleaning it with alcohol was not getting it out. So there's the little bit of it that's left. So I'm hoping you can see it's stuck to the bottom of the bottle there. But even with soaking it in alcohol and then that brass sitting in there for quite a while, it's still not coming out. So hopefully it will not affect the way my brass looks. So instead of doing what I was going to do, I'm going to do this instead. I'm just going to come through and make these little dots. Now, if you have to dip your brush again, dab some of it off on the side if you want to continue, you know, having your dots get smaller and smaller, because obviously if you load up with ink again, it's going to make your dots get bigger again. And you can actually go, you know, a pretty long way with just one brush full of ink. Sorry, got a fuzz on my brush there. Remember to keep shaking up your brass every now and then too, which I probably should have done that time, because it will settle, you know, as it sits. And if you're putting it out in a palette, just you may have to add a little more alcohol to it every now and then. If you know, do a spot and it's not quite as big as you want, just dab it again. About let my brush dry up. This is making a huge mess, just so y'all know. My hands are oh shoot, too big. My fingers are sticking to the brush because it keeps getting ink all over the side of it when I put it down in there. I did not mean to get that big, so now I'm having to try to if I'd had half a brain, I should have just gone back and used my cotton swab to take it out. Because when I dabbed back over it, I was having a hard time keeping it round looking. I just, for some reason today, I can't manage to do anything without getting spots of ink where I don't want them to be. So, all right, I am going to speed this up because you all really don't need to spend the next, 30 minutes watching me just do little dots like this. But I'll just tell you before I go ahead and set this to speed up, just go with whatever looks good to you. There's no rhyme or reason to what I'm doing. It's just, wherever I have some room and I feel like it might benefit from a little bit of extra something. So, all right, well, I am going to speed this up so you all don't have to watch this for so long, and I will meet you on the other side. I am going to leave it like this. I had debated on doing a little, I don't know, more in it here and there. I'd kind of debated on just putting a few little spots in here and there, but I think it's going to make it too busy. So, and I already almost went overboard on the dots out in here. So I am going to leave it like this. I know you all have seen me do this type of embellishment before, but I did want to share it with you. And like I said, you know, I did that little bit of experimenting to start, even though it didn't work out the way that I had hoped. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm satisfied with the way it has turned out. And you know, you can see all that nice little shimmer of brass that you get in there when the light hits it correctly. One thing real quick that I meant to mention at the beginning and I forgot. Now I did use this little just liner brush to do it, but you can also, if you have them, these little dotting tools, I have actually used them before as well, and you know, they work great too. This is just a Pixis brand package of different size dotting tools. It's got lots of different size tips in there that you can use. I know a lot of you probably have some stuff like that from other crafting, and I know a lot of people like to do the mandalas with the dots. I don't have the patience for that. Boy, you all, my hat's off to you, the ones that do. So they look beautiful, but I don't have the patience for that. So, all right, well, that is it for this one. And I hope you all enjoyed it. And I will be back real soon with something else for you. I'll see y'all later. Bye.